All right, let's talk about a genuine superpower. I mean it. It's something almost every single one of us has access to, but very, very few people actually know how to use it right. We're going to unlock the real potential of AI, not for, writing boring emails, but for mastering literally any skill you can think of. So here's the core problem, right? We've all got access to these AI models that are just unbelievably powerful. Think of them like a supercar, a Ferrari that can go 200 miles an hour. And what are we doing with it? We're using it to drive to the mailbox at the end of the driveway. It's just a huge waste of potential.
And this leads to a feeling I think we all know when we're trying to learn something new. It just feels like a grind, Like you're stuck on the tutorial level of a video game, just doing the same boring quests over and over and not really making any progress. You know you should be leveling up, but instead, you're just getting more and more frustrated.
Or look at it this way. You are holding a master key, a key that could unlock any door you want, a new skill, a complex subject, a whole new career, but you're just using it to open the pantry to grab a snack. That massive missed opportunity, that gap between potential and reality, that's what we're going to close today.
Now, the solution isn't about finding some new, better AI. It's not about the tool at all. It's about a fundamental shift in your mindset. You have to stop being a passive student, just sitting there getting answers spoon-fed to you. You've got to become an active architect of your own knowledge. And the AI, that's just your most sophisticated tool. This, right here, this says it all. The power isn't in the tool itself. The real hack, the thing that gives you a massive advantage, is knowing how to command it. It's all about giving precise, intelligent, and frankly, demanding instructions to build a completely custom skill tree inside your own brain.
So, how do you actually do that? Well, it really just comes down to 5 core principles. Think of these as the blueprint for becoming a master builder of knowledge, or maybe even the cheat codes for unlocking this entirely new way of learning. And here they are. Number 1, build on bedrock. 2, forge understanding. 3, demand precision. 4, anchor the abstract. And finally, 5, direct the journey. So let's break down what each of these really means and how you can start using them, like right now.
First things first, every single great structure out there needs a solid foundation, right? Well, our learning is no different. And that brings us to rule number 1.
So our first rule, the foundation for absolutely everything else, is to build on bedrock. Now, this isn't about being a beginner. It's a total power move. See, if you want to build a skyscraper of knowledge, you can't build it on sand. You have to start with the absolute fundamentals, the core ideas, the basic vocabulary, to create a really stable frame for everything you're going to build on top of it. And this is a perfect example of how to do it. Instead of asking some big, broad question, you secure the foundational bricks first. You tell the AI, look, explain this for me, for my wallet, not for some expert. This makes sure that your bedrock is solid before you even think about building higher. Okay, so you've laid the bedrock. What's next? You can't just stand around admiring the foundation. You've got to start building. And that brings us to rule number 2. Once that foundation is set, it's time for our second rule. You have to forge understanding. Deep learning isn't a passive lecture that you just listen to. It's an active dialogue. You need to treat every learning session like a checkpoint in a game, constantly confirming that the knowledge is actually installing correctly in your brain.
And this is the crucial move right here. You have to create this dialogue loop. Don't just sit there and nod along. You pause the AI, you rephrase the concept in your own words, and then you ask for confirmation. Did I get that right? This immediately shows you where the gaps are in your understanding so you can fix them on the spot.
Okay, so you're having a conversation. You're forging your understanding. But what happens if the AI you're talking to gets a little lazy, a little vague? Well, that's exactly where Rule 3 comes in.
Rule number 3 is simple. Demand precision. Look, AI loves to use these fuzzy, hand-wavy analogies that sound really good on the surface but don't actually explain the mechanics of anything. As the architect, you have to be the quality control inspector. Your job is to reject that fog of ambiguity every single time. I mean, this slide says it all. On the left, you get useless fluff like, oh, it's like jazz improvisation. Thanks for nothing. On the right, you have a demand for the actual mechanics. No, explain the nodes, the layers, and the weights. You have to shut down the vague stuff and push the AI for a real, concrete explanation of how things actually work. So now you're getting these precise, mechanical answers. But just a list of facts isn't real knowledge, is it? Those facts need to connect to your world. They've got to stick. And that is the entire point of rule number 4.
Once you get that precision, you have to connect it to the real world. That's our 4th rule: anchor the abstract. Because even the most precise theories can feel like they're just floating away if they aren't tied to something you can actually grab onto. You have to constantly be building bridges from theory to reality. You got to make the AI touch grass, you know? And this is exactly how you do it. You ground these abstract concepts in things you already know and you actually care about. Ask the AI to explain a principle using a TikTok trend, your favorite video game, or a hobby you have. This is what transforms abstract rules into flexible mental models that actually stick with you.
So you've got the foundation, you've got the dialogue, you've got the precision, and you've got real-world anchors. There is just one piece of the puzzle missing. Who's in charge here? Rule 5 puts you firmly in the driver's seat.
And that brings us to the final rule, the one that ties this whole strategy together. Direct the journey. Think about it. An architect doesn't just show up to a construction site and see what happens. They arrive with a blueprint. You are the director. You set the goals, you define the scope, and you steer the conversation right from the very beginning.
So, why does all of this matter? Why go through all the trouble of getting so good at talking to a chatbot? Because this skill isn't about passing a test. It is about getting ridiculously good at the things you actually care about, completely on your own terms.
Here's the payoff. You can master a passion, something like music production or coding, in weeks, not years. You can learn to understand any topic so deeply that you can, win pretty much any argument, and you can turn the most boring subjects into a system that you can easily master. This right here is the ultimate competitive edge.
So I'm going to leave you with this question to think about. What is the one thing you have always wanted to be amazing at? Because with this new framework, with this architect mindset, you're now just one good conversation away from starting.